We got some Apple news for you today. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you've watched my channel before, you know a couple things. I do videos like this from time to time. I go through 12 or 15 different Apple-related stories or features or things that could be related to services. Sometimes they're directly related, sometimes they're not. Stay tuned, I have about 15 or I think 12 to 15 different stories today that you might like, including some of the Prime deals, all the way up to some issues with Apple and some good things with Apple. So sit back, relax. Let's get through all the stories really quickly here. Let's go. All right, so Amazon Prime's going on right now, and I want to show you a couple things over here. So take a look at my screen. $749 for the M1 MacBook Air right now. $749. It used to be about, obviously right around $799, the cheapest I've seen it. Now it's down to $749. Now the reason I like to show you this is I'm not saying go out and get this, even though it's a great deal, but when you're weighing this against the 15-inch right now, it's a big difference, all right? That's number one. Number two, use this as the low bar, all right? So from now on, do not spend more than this. Wait until Christmas, it's gonna drop, or don't ever go more higher than this. Once they drop that bar, that's where you stay, and then don't buy it any more expensive than this, all right? So the next thing that they have at the Prime deal over here, and we'll get to the Prime stuff, and then we're gonna go through some other stories. So we got $1249 here on the 15-inch base model, 50 bucks off, not a big deal, right? I don't even think it's like actually a Prime deal right now, but it is a little bit of a savings. Not bad, right? So then this next one over here is going to be the Apple iPad 10th generation. You can see it right here. $379 right now for Prime Day, 15% off. That's not bad, right? This is basically the 10th generation A4 Bionic chip. So if you're looking to pick this up, not a bad deal right now on Amazon Prime. And again, if you can't get this in a couple days, just use this as the low bar. Wait till it to drop back down to this price because you know that's where it's going to go eventually. Then buy it. Just trust me, it'll go back. The next one over here, let's take a look at this. $379 for the Apple. This is the Mini now. This is the iPad Mini, 6th generation, A15 Bionic chip here. 24% off, $379, a great deal. And if I have to say it again, if you can't get this deal tomorrow or the next day, wait for it to come back, it will. All right, so these next couple stories are going to be by Mac Rumors or 9to5Mac. They're great, great websites. Definitely check them out. I want to give them their kind of due here. But this is kind of funny. So look at this over here. This is a record player, and this is one that they think, it says it would be designed by Apple. It looks like it would be, right? So this is actually Johnny Ives. You remember that guy that did all of Apple's design before? This is his first product that he's really designed and came out with since he left Apple. And he's created a record player, right? Very fancy. It does look like it would be an Apple, record player, what have you. But it also looks like it would be an Apple price tag plus some. Look down here. This luxury $60,000 record player, $60,000 record player is the first non-Apple hardware project Ive has actually created, right? For the money, it looked really nice when I was looking at it. Then I saw the price, and then I'm like, what are you, nuts? There's no possible way anyone in the world, I don't care if you're a billionaire, should spend $60,000 on a record player. You tell me if I'm wrong. All right, the next one is going to be funny. It's by Mac Rumors. Now, and again, these stories, you can go out and look at yourself. You can find them yourself, but I like to kind of wrap them up if you guys like this stuff, so let's keep looking at my screen. Now, it says if you're looking to get this new Vision Pro anytime soon, in America, it might come out early 2024, all right? But stay with me for a second. Now, if you're in UK or Canada, see right here, it won't be till the end of 2024. This is probably going to come out to your countries, and then after that for other countries. So a lot of people keep saying that this is going to be a game changer. It's going to be like the iPhone and stuff like that, and I don't see it that way at all, right? And that's a big problem. I think it's actually going to come out. It's going to take maybe 5 or 7 years, and I'll explain why in a second. So if you look at the next story over here, take a look at this. It says Vision Pro launch at retail store is Apple's most complex rollout ever. It'll require appointment to buy, all right? So even in 2024, you want to buy one of these things for $3,500, you got to set up an appointment with them and go in and get it. They have to train you on it and that kind of stuff, all right? Pretty crazy. And the article goes on to say that this could change eventually, but initially they're going to have pre-orders and people come in and schedule everything. So it's going to be crazy. But they're only going to have so many units anyway, right? They also talk about this is not going to be the final design. It's going to go through a lot of iterations. It's not comfortable enough for 8 hours. I mean, let's be realistic. Your family can't sit and all spend $3,500 and watch it together. So overall, this is going to be 3, 5, 7, 10 years from now that it's going to be the iPhone killer. So if you think it's going to kill the iPhone next year, the year after, you're wrong. And, I'm not going to put any money in it because sometimes Apple surprises me, but I think I'm right. All right, so this next story over here, take a look at my screen. It says Apple Savings Account lists longer 5-day fund transfer time in iOS 17, all right? So if you have an Apple Savings Account, and iOS 16, you had 1 to 3 days to actually move your money to a different account. So if you had it in there, it would take 1 to 3 days. They've now in the beta of iOS 17, and you go into here, it's now telling people 5 days, not 1 to 3, but 5 days. So what that basically means is when Apple has your money in that account and they want to transfer it somewhere else, now they can hold on to it for just a little bit longer, make a little bit more interest, and make a little bit more money to be the most profitable business in the world. This one's just a really small one, but it's kind of interesting. Take a look at my screen. It's from Mac Rumors. It says Apple says the latest 13-inch MacBook Air now supports Bluetooth 5.3, all right? So the 13-inch M2 MacBook Air, it didn't come out. It came out with Bluetooth 5.0. Now, the next one, the 15-inch, came out with 5.3. So everyone's like, well, why didn't the other one have it? Well, now if we go to Apple's official website, and I'll show you right here, you scroll down, it's right here. So for both of them, it's saying Bluetooth 5.3. I don't know if this is kind of through an update or something. In any case, now it supports 5.3, not 5.0. So if you have a 13-inch M2 MacBook Air, you're fine. It's 5.3, which is going to give you better stability, I guess better speeds and things like that. So obviously all around, it's a little bit better. This next article over here is kind of interesting. So look at this. It's by Porsche. This is from 9to5Mac. It says Porsche unveils revamped CarPlay experience with climate controls and more. You can see the picture right here. So what does this mean? So Apple CarPlay, right? What Porsche did, this could be the future of this. Porsche actually created an app inside of Apple CarPlay, an app for themselves. You would go to that app, and then if you look there, it would create this little screen for you where you can actually control the controls of your car, like your heating or your seats and stuff, or refresh, warm up. So it was actually like built-in stuff custom to the car, built in through CarPlay, right? Which is kind of interesting if you read this article. So it's more or less, this might be the future where maybe they don't all have their own kind of infotainment centers and things like that, and CarPlay stays there because GM's trying to get away from it and that kind of stuff. But maybe they go this route and have their own apps that can give you additional functionality, which they'll probably charge for. But anyways, you get the idea. So if you're rich enough to have a Porsche, check it out. All right, this next one I'm going to go through quick. I want to get everyone's radar on this. It says Shadow Vault Mac OS Stealer surfaces as the newest Mac malware. So Shadow Vault. So if you scroll down here, what can it do? This is really scary. It says extract passwords, cookies, credit cards, wallets, Chromium-based extensions, extract passwords, cookies, credit cards, extract files, keychain database extraction, support and decrypt crypto wallets. I mean, this is crazy stuff, right? Telegram grabbing. And then, if you scroll down here, though, let's just say, how can you get protected against it? Well, the coolest thing is where did it say that? Let me read up here. It says, like the Atomic Mac OS Stealer, which is a different one, it appears that Safari can't be compromised by Shadow Vault. Now, that just means things in Safari. But so if you use Safari versus Chrome and those other things, you're safer with this, all right? That's number one. And then it says, obviously, the more common things down here, don't install hardware or software outside of the OS store. Obviously, that's the thing we've always talked about. Strong passwords, enable biometric security, multi-factor authentication, don't open attachments, those type of things. So anyways, using, though, again, if you use the built-in, obviously, browser, Safari, you're going to be a little bit safer with this one. But anyways, check it out. Shadow Vault, Mac OS Stealer. Look it up online. It's pretty dangerous, and you want to be aware of it. This next one's kind of funny, but kind of not. So if you look over here, it says relax, Apple's new ad, and I'll show it to you in a second, kind of the end of it. It says you've just been in a car crash, all right? So relax. Now, this makes no sense to me, right? And this is kind of the funny thing. Let me actually turn my volume off over here because I do not probably get a copyright strike or something. So what happens in this, I'll show this to you. What happens is the car goes through a crash, and this guy's spinning around. It's a crash test dummy. You can see it right here. They're spinning around in this car. See it? Rolling and rolling. And I'm sure you'd be in the worst state of your life if this happened to you in real life, right? And then the ad keeps going on and says, oh, you got an Apple phone. It's going to call crash detection. Relax. It's an iPhone 14. So relax. It's an iPhone 14, even though you're almost dead, right? So it's kind of a funny ad because I don't think it makes a lot of sense. If you're rolling your car like this, would you really just say, oh, relax, I got an iPhone 14? I don't think so. This next one's more of a delay. Look at my screen. First OLED iPad Pro on track for next year. That's actually good. So the first iPad Pro is going to be next year. That's actually a good thing. But then it says MacBook Pro delayed. So we thought maybe the MacBook Pro would actually have OLEDs coming out sooner or later. There's a line down here that says has been pushed back to 2007 or 2027, the earliest. So if you're looking for an OLED screen on a MacBook Pro, now it's 2027. But on an iPad, it could be next year. All right, this is kind of a rumor, but it's coming out there on a lot of different channels. Take a look at the screen. iPhone battery, it's basically for the iPhone 15. If you look down here, and really what you want to look at, let me just see if I can get this here, but it's going to be basically these 15s right there. You can see that the 15 Pro is a 12% increase. 15 Pro well, 15 Pro Max 12%, 15 Pro 14%, 15 Pro Plus 13%, and then finally the 15 is going to be 18%. So it looks like all the batteries are increasing by anywhere from 12 to 18%, which is going to hopefully mean longer battery life, right? At least depending on what they do internally. So long story short, depending on the size too, but it looks like there's going to be substantial battery increases on the new iPhones, and obviously this new model coming out. So take it with a grain of salt. Rumors, I don't know about rumors, but at least it's out there in a lot of different channels. All right, so this next one's a little scary for Apple lovers. So look at my screen. Apple chip production unaffected by Chinese sanctions, but things could get much worse. So what this basically means is Apple's sanctioning Taiwan on some stuff, and Taiwan makes a lot of chips, right? Now, what Apple does, or what China has, is all like the rare earth metals and stuff. They're one of the few countries that actually mine all that stuff, all right? So what this article is saying, that depending on like the spy balloon stuff and all this other stuff, just all this other crazy stuff, Apple could eventually, if they go do something with Taiwan or something happens between the United States and them, Apple could cut them off from those those metals, obviously, and then that would create the chip shortage and would create a lot of different problems with Apple and any manufacturer of any kind of computer at that point, even cars and stuff. So it could be a catastrophic. But again, a lot of times China has more to lose than us, United States or other countries. So it's just one of those things where you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, we see a lot of weird things in the world that go on, but in the end of the day, you just never know. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm just going to finish again with this Prime deal right now. $749 for that M1. I have one sitting right here. I mean, it's arguably as fast as the M2 because it's got the faster drive. If you get the base model, it's got a faster SSD drive. It's not a bad system to consider at $749. I mean, you got to think about it out there. I'm not going to tell everyone what to get or not. Stay tuned, and I have a couple new ones coming up on some new systems in the near future here. Anyway, subscribe if you can. Help me out. I make, 500-600 different videos on Apple stuff. If you can subscribe, like it, it's going to help me make more of these. I'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.